right, good morning. Welcome everyone to our Friday webinar. Today we're going to jump into the quantum weight loss program and how you can integrate, the TeloYouth quantum rejuvenation program into a possible weight loss program if that is something that you are interested in. Dr. Chris, it's pretty fascinating. Even just a cleanse, if somebody wants to do a cleanse, you can use it for that too as well. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Tina. Absolutely. That's very powerful to understand how to regulate your lifestyle. And welcome, everyone. So glad you could join us. So let's get started here. This quantum weight loss program, we start out just introducing the rejuvenation program that we introduced with TeloYouth and all the basic dynamics that happen within this, quality of life that we introduce. So you're going to learn today about, overweight deals with inflammation. So you see the toxicity inflammation bar there, and the solution requires retracing and rejuvenation, which is unique to our industry as far as healthcare versus, just the conventional medicine. And the gut and microbiome health is directly impacted by your weight. So we'll discuss that as far as how the microbiome is influenced by the food and how specific exercise exists, the type of exercise. We're going to talk about zone 2 exercise, and that means 60 to 70% of your is determined by your heart rate, and that's how you're able to really balance this good exercise that allows you to burn up fat and clean up the toxicity and reduce the inflammation. So these are all very powerful dynamics here we're introducing, Dr. Tina. Anything you want to add there?
It's just complex, but we're going to take it a step at a time. And we want to introduce Salvador. He was, look at this, in 2018, he kind of took the big leap with our uh, quantum program before we even called it that. And you can see on the left-hand side, um, my goodness, such a shift and change. Within 6 weeks, he dropped almost 70 pounds now and 10 inches around the waist. So he was changing his metabolism, he was changing fat loss, gaining muscle, which is really key and important. As the body goes through a fat loss process, you have to understand that the body is going through a trauma. And so it actually will go, it'll fluctuate between inflammation. There's always a memory, there's a matrix that the body remembers at how inflated you were. And so really shifting and changing things along the pathways when you're going through this weight loss, program is really important. We'll talk about some of those tips and tricks as well. So congratulations to him. This was back in 2018, Dr. Chris.
Yeah, just powerful and just demonstrating the changes we make in our metabolism. So, why don't you get into that a little bit, Dr. Tina?
Yes, what is it? What is metabolism? Think about it as the sum of all of our biochemical reactions that happen within the body. That's our metabolism. So our culture, though, emphasizes metabolism in relation to weight loss. What is your body composition? Like, what is your fat ratio to your muscle ratio? And how much energy are you producing? That's been the focus. And we look at this a little bit differently. We'll talk about this later, but when your metabolic function is poor, which means if any biochemical response is poor within the body, we will experience physical signs through symptoms. What is the symptom here that we are talking about? We're talking about weight gain. So people think that the weight gain or that symptom of the weight gain is the issue, and it's not. It's the metabolic processes. And we need to just shift our mindset around that. Instead of focusing on the weight loss, focus on improving your metabolic processes. Dr. Chris, anything to add?
We can get into detail when we explain what pushes those metabolisms out of balance. And the first area there, nutritional deficiencies or imbalances, and we'd always talk a lot about supporting the TeloYouth program with the good diet and supplementation that can be added to that. And when we talk about supplementation, we're talking about digestion, how you're able to handle the food you get. So there's the hydrochloric acid that your body produces, and as you age, it becomes less. And so we have to introduce and revitalizing that into your digestive system. And digestion is just taking the large molecules of the food and breaking them down into the smaller molecules so that you can absorb them. And that's why you have the bile from your liver in order to break the fats down so that they can be absorbed and used. So much of this impacts, how we gain weight, lose weight, maintain our weight. So it starts out right at the beginning. And then toxin accumulation, of course, all these stressors impact how we, integrate with each other. The nervous and endocrine signaling that goes on. We always, show how the hormones from the endocrine system, the communication and signaling, the nervous system, the brain chemicals that support, the peptides that come out of there to communicate and signal. So again, the TeloYouth program supports all these systems to balance them. And then you have chronic external stressors that we're learning more and more about, and they continue to increase with our environment. The internal stressors that aren't just the ones that I described earlier as far as diet and how we're absorbing, but also the emotional, the psychological dynamics. And of course, the big picture of all this creates inflammation. So all these things drive this metabolic ecosystem, Dr. Tina, and it's important that we just understand this because it gives us the big picture.
It does. And when all diseases are metabolic problems at their core, what does the doctor do? Focuses on the disease, not the metabolic imbalance. So just to give you an idea, we talk about B vitamins. B vitamins, so many people are deficient in B vitamins, and getting the right B vitamins is important. The methylated B vitamins, methylated folate, not just any kind of a B vitamin. And then when you look at nutritional deficiencies as well, a lot of people are nutritionally deficient because they're not absorbing nutrients because their microbiome is off or the receptors on their cells need to be rebuilt. And what do? We help with both of those areas as well. I mean, we don't just focus on one area with our rejuvenation program. It's so multidimensional. So, what are some of the symptoms that if you were to go to the doctor or you were to experience some of these symptoms, let's take a look at six of them. Blood sugar imbalance. You're either going to be hypoglycemic or you're going to be hyperglycemic, and you're going to have different symptoms with each of those. So with hypo, you're going to have shakiness, sweating, and confusion, fatigue. It can even be that bad. Hyper is going to be frequent urination, increased thirst, blurred vision. Another area is thyroid dysfunction. Hypo and hyperthyroidism. Oh my gosh, is that ever off the charts right now? And, if you've got low thyroid, the hypo, you're going to experience fatigue, weight gain, cold intolerance, hyper anxiety, weight loss. Just the opposite. rapid heartbeat. When you're looking at adrenal imbalances, this is that cortisol dysregulation. Weight gain, where we talk about this, especially around the belly, that abdominal weight, insomnia, sugar cravings, because you want more energy. So you're going to go to that sugar. Low cortisol can be adrenal fatigue. So this is when, if you're experiencing fatigue in the morning, you might have burned out your adrenals, low blood pressure. Electrolyte imbalances. This is pretty common as well, where our sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium are all off. They're not in balance with each other. So you can have low sodium, which is that confusion, headache, even seizures, low potassium, constipation, irregular heartbeat, muscle cramps, low magnesium, muscle cramps. A lot of people that I work with have muscle cramps at night. It's like, oh my goodness, your electrolytes are off, and we've got to take a look at that. So then let's look at insulin resistance, this metabolic syndrome. People with diabetes, right? They get diagnosed with diabetes. What we're really looking at is, a metabolic issue with taking a look at how your insulin is, your pancreas. So this is where you're really fatigued after your meals, sugar cravings again for more energy, weight gain around the midsection. By the way, skin tags or darkened skin folds, that's another symptom of insulin resistance. And then let's look at pH imbalance. If you're eating all high acidic foods, and this is when I go bonkers a little bit about the full-on carnivore diet. It is such a high acidic diet, and they don't eat a lot of vegetables. And it might be okay for short periods, but the body truly needs diversity. So I will honor people if they're there, but eventually they come back and they go, oh my gosh, I feel horrible. Why? And I go, now we've got to fix what you've just caused with your metabolic issues. So then when we take a look at how does the doctor look at this, you'll go to the doctor and they'll say, oh, you have elevated fasting blood sugar, your insulin is off, your triglycerides and your cholesterol. And there's a lot of myths around this one with cholesterol. Those are elevated, elevated A1C, right? Inflammation, uh, endocrine imbalances. And this is where looking at steroidal hormones, your thyroid, your cortisols, all could be off. So that's where they measure, and that's where they want to fix. And so instead of knowing that there's truly metabolic processes that can naturally be supported to reverse these imbalances, that's the huge difference of when you're plugged into us and our program, teaching you how to reverse that. It just means you have to be responsible about some of the things that you're putting into your mouth. Right, Dr. Chris?
Exactly. And, we're not trying to make everybody be a doctor or understand the science, but it really helps to understand how the body works and how these tests have been developed for the specific areas. So, it's really good to understand just how your body works. And these are ways that, the professionals test to determine what's going on in your body. So let's take a look at some of the metabolic symptoms that we're dealing with fat. So excessive weight gain or poor weight loss have side effects, and the side effects are the way we storage our fat. Subcutaneous, meaning it's just throughout the body. The visceral, these are the key organs that are throughout the body. The intra-organ, within the organ itself. Then there's the systems, the stages of the immune system and endocrine system that we always introduce and help you understand why our formulas work specifically in those key systems. So you get, excessive fat cells. You get the endocrine response that is directly a cause and effect of what's happening with the fat itself. So all this is signaling and communication, and of course, compounding inflammation. The, the word that we always share. It's almost like a word to understand that how inflammation helps to heal, but at the same time, when it's out of control, it's so damaging. So, one of the things that's really interesting to understand and why we emphasize exercise is because exercise changes the kind and quality of fat that we retain. So, what that means is that when you have regular exercise, you have a more favorable extracellular matrix composition. That's what we're talking about, the subcutaneous, the visceral, the intra-organ fats that build in through the body. There's fewer inflammatory macrophage. Macrophage are what the white blood cells, the big white blood cells that the immune system produces in order to deal with our inflammatory response or our traumas. So you get fewer inflammatory macrophages when you exercise, and then of course your mitochondria, the little energy engines within each one of our cells. These they start to increase. They build up, get stronger and more prolific, and then the greater fat storage capacity, meaning that you can handle the fat more efficiently. So exercise plays a key role in this whole dynamic of just getting control of your metabolic symptoms. Dr. Tina, you want to add a little there?
I do. One little tip and trick is, after you eat a meal, walk. Just go out and take a walk. That will help. But I also want to mention that the more fat that you retain, those fat cells actually have a memory and they have a signal that they will send to the brain to eat more. So your fat starts to control you instead of you controlling your fat. And they're just showing that whole connection is very, very real. And then just know when you do go into fat loss, your body will go through a trauma. It's going to think it's going through a trauma. So you need to increase, like your TeloYouth, we'll talk about that. And that helps you through the trauma and to change that extracellular matrix to shrink and stay healthy. So chronic inflammation, we talk about this a lot. It is the one thing above all else that will disrupt your metabolic function. So drive down inflammation. And we do that. We talk about that. We've got endless presentations about how TeloYouth and TeloMega drives down inflammation. And then I showed that with my test results as well. So whenever you have this chronic inflammation, it creates an energy crisis. In other words, it steals energy from you. And then eventually, the organs and tissues will run out of energy, and then they start to become diseased. So we want to make sure that we're dialing down inflammation every single day. It's okay to have it. Again, especially if you're exercising, you need to have it to make more muscle, but then you need to have it dialed down. Okay. Anything to add here, Dr. Chris?
Well, let's just go and just show how this the comparison here between disease and health. And the key role there just starts in the gut, right? So we always talk about that obese individuals, they have uh, very specific bacteria that contributes to weight gain. So, obese individuals absorb more calories from food than a lean person. And so this is why we're talking about how just your environment changes how you're going to respond to your food. So your gut bacteria are in a bad state, when they're not in a good healthy state to have good bacteria, then this increases the weight gain. And hormonal imbalances, how you feel after a meal, uh, kind of drives your food. And just like Dr. Tina said, after you eat, take a little walk instead of wanting to just go take a nap. This is just how we're impacted by our food, and it just changes how you want to eat and why you eat. So those feedback systems in the body start teaching us, how to practice a more healthy lifestyle. So look at the difference here between the imbalance of the gut and the healthy gut. So you see the inflammatory bowel disease that happens when the gut starts breaking down, and then it leads to all the different chronic degenerative conditions that we learn about and read about. So our probiotics and our prebiotics or postbiotics are so important because they support to maintain that healthy GI tract. And it's things we've been talking for a long time, Dr. Tina, but do we really understand the power of it all, right?
Well, the thing is, let's talk about this gut a little bit. We've done presentations on that, and probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics is important, but in the right order. So if you want to know, go back and look at one of those presentations. But I also want to mention that there are very specific strains of bacteria that you want to have in your gut when you go through a weight loss program. And there's one, and I want you to write it down. It's called Bifido, Bifido, and the strain number is BB, like boy, 536. BB 536. Now, when you get that implanted into your gut, it is such an incredible base probiotic that it will not only, and we're talking about BB536 for 6 months, people. It takes a long time to get it back in. When we were all younger, we had a lot of this strain and it supported our metabolic health. So it's a wonderful base uh, probiotic, and again, it's Bifido BB536. You can find it, that strain, on its own. So it's going to help with weight loss. And then if you are at the right weight, you can take it and it will support you to stay at your good weight. You don't take it forever. Again, you cycle on, cycle off. And so it's fabulous. Stay away from the lacto types of probiotics when you start your weight loss program. The lactose can throw your gut off. So there's just a little tweak there that you can do as well. So here we go. When we look at optimal health and rejuvenation, we've got to reduce that inflammation. It will enhance your metabolism. And again, we talked about the microbiome. Uh, it will, if it's out of balance, you're going to have unnecessary immune activation. We do not want that. We want a good, healthy immune system, but we don't want it overactivated. It will cause leaky gut, leaky brain, weight gain, and more. I don't need to beat a dead horse there. Let's go to the next one. Dr. Chris, jump into our program.
And just in case, let's go back real quick. Just that picture is showing the villi within the intestinal tract, and that gives you the massive surface area that exists in your GI tract. So it's just like a football, area of space, and it's all right there in your gut. So just to give you an idea how powerful it is to keep it healthy and strong. So okay, let's go to the next program as far as talking about what we're recommending here. So the first thing is we're qualifying everyone from the standpoint of entering this program is so powerful and so supports you in your weight loss and your ability to maintain your health. But for a new person that's really just discovering, the opportunity to get into the TeloYouth programs, we want to make sure that there's at least a few months that you're able to, 4 to 6 months, maybe even a little more, where you're just regaining your health with our formulas, because then you can handle the challenge of losing weight. And when this program starts, it's about an 8-week program.
Right. So let me be
And
really clear, Dr. Chris, if you don't mind.
sure,
All
yeah,
right.
please.
Do not do this if you are a new person or you have a new person, even if they're overweight, obese. Do not do this program really clearly unless you've done the wellness or quantum level one for 4 to 6 months first, because you have to get the stability and some of the inflammation down in the body before starting this program. Okay, jump in, Dr. Chris.
Well, that's great. I love the clarity there that you're sharing. And then, so those that are entering into this program, it's like an 8-week program, and what it does is it's really easy to do. It minimizes fasting related stress, promotes muscle formation rather than loss. And that's so important because you need muscle to burn fat. You need the muscle to maintain your tissue integrity and just the vitality of your body and your health. So this why this program supports the good lean mass that's maintained, and then improves skin elasticity and tone. Who doesn't want that? There's your youthful appearance. So you're looking better, you're feeling better, and there's no rebound effect due to rejuvenation and the fundamental metabolic improvement. And that's why we talk about you only do this program after you've had a good 4 to 6 months of our wellness program, or the actually, level one of, the
Quantum rejuvenation level one.
quantum rejuvenation. Exactly. So the method is consume a 4 month supply of the rejuvenation program within 2 months. That's the 8-week period. And then in the morning, you're waking up. You take 2 scoops of the TeloYouth, and then 8 capsules of TeloOmega, and a good quality vitamin C, about at least 2,000 milligrams. And this really helps boost your immunity. And then at lunch, eat a balanced meal rich in protein and fiber so you feel satiated. And then dinners, you're replacing the meal with 6 scoops of TeloYouth. And again, depending upon your size and you know, how well you feel, you can do 4 to 6 scoops. But most people, 6 scoops is what you need so that you can really get through the night, and then 8 capsules of the telomega, and our vitamin C that we support you with the good immune response. So if you feel still hungry at night, you consume, maybe a good source of green juice or a green powder that will help you just get through that craving that you have. And this really balances out, and you get less and less of that as time goes by. So, Dr. Tina, this is really very,
Yeah. It
powerful,
is. Let me add a
powerful
couple.
program. Yeah.
Yes, let
Yeah,
me add
go
a
ahead.
couple things. Yes. On the vitamin C, make sure it is a food-based vitamin C. You want to make sure it's either like AMLA, AMLA C, or is it the Arcerola cherry is another good one. Rose hips. You can find some really good food-based vitamin C. Try to stay away from ascorbic acid because it will create some people will get like upset stomach from it. So that's one thing. And yes, we are saying do your TeloYouth and your TeloMega and your vitamin C together during this program. It is okay. It's not going to interfere with each other. And then,
Vitamin C is a complex, Dr. Tina. So I'm glad you're just emphasizing that it be a good natural form that
right,
has all the complexes of that support the vitamin C.
right. Sometimes during this program, you might not sleep real great at night as you're cleansing. So turn off those devices, look at our sleep video, see what you can do to make some shifts and changes there. Because it's really, really important when you're looking at this weight loss program uh, to be able to sleep. You have to sleep to rejuvenate. So again, this is an 8-week program. Measure your waist, measure your hips, your bust, your thighs, your arms. Make sure you can get a scale now for 25 or $30 that will measure your weight, your body composition, so you'll know if you have muscle, you'll know if what your percentages of fat, and watch how your body changes during this 8 weeks. Okay. So what are some of the tips? If the product alone is not enough, you can add an avocado. Why avocado? Because it's a good fat and it will satiate you. Um, or yogurt, whole fat yogurt, not flavored. It's got to be plain. Or cabbage. Cabbage is a good fiber as well. So you can add one or I wouldn't add more than one. Just pick one of those with the dinner. Hydration. You will detoxify. You have to make sure that you drink at least uh, a lot of water, and it's going to be half of your body weight in ounces, minimal. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water. Okay. Late night hunger. Try drinking a green juice. Make sure it is cold pressed organic or eating raw organic almonds. And when I say raw organic almonds, one time I had to do this and I had 10 almonds and I was satiated. It was wonderful. Um, and then once a week, pick a Saturday or a Sunday and keep that day the same, but have a substantial meal to boost your metabolism at night. So you'll have 2 meals at night, or the dinner and the lunch. And you will find that the next day you will probably lose even more weight, especially if you've plateaued. And it's amazing how the body works, but and it's not going out and eating bad stuff. It's just make sure that you eat something. One of the good things, one of the tricks that I have found is that when you do this substantial meal, if you're having something like oatmeal at night, it's amazing. Like the next morning, you lose a lot of weight. Or even get this, a grilled cheese sandwich. And I don't know why, but those two things really work well. And believe me, on this cleanse for dinner, that's going to taste amazing. Emotional challenges, you will have them because stored in your body fat are memories. They are feelings. So every time those cells are starting to break down, you will have unexplained sadness, depression, anger. You're going to have cravings because those fat cells, remember, they send the signal to the brain that says, feed me. So as they are moving out of the body, you will have those, and you have to have the mindset that you will overcome those and you'll get through it and just keep going. Get that BB536 in your body, that strain that I talked about, and it will help as well. And then journal. If you need to journal, get this stuff. When you write things down, it gets it out of your body. It gets it out of your consciousness. It gets it out of your subconscious. And it's like you can move on because you're getting it out. So use that. If you don't want anyone to see your journal, shred it, do something, get rid of it. But you need to get whatever is on your mind out. And then exercise. Start with aerobic exercise at only about 70% intensity. And you are the only one that is going to know what your intensity level is at. But get started. You've got to get movement. And then start moving into strength training. If you haven't. And sometimes strength training just means push-ups, or it might mean just, doing something with body weight as strength training and then start gradually adding weights to increase the intensity. You will see
It's
some,
exercise with resistance, right, Dr. Tina? And
yeah.
these are just so important to understand these points. And I would just recommend that everyone make this a gift to yourself, and then just take a picture of the last two slides, this slide and the previous one, and put them on the refrigerator so that you can just continue to kind of program yourself and what you're trying to do with your lifestyle. And so these are just real gifts and opportunities to take advantage of what you want to do to maintain your health and regain your health. Dr. Tina.
This isn't like any other weight loss program. It is like turning you inside out rejuvenation. Pretty fabulous. You will come out feeling so much better. All right, quantum rejuvenation program level 1. Again, please do not get started on this weight loss program unless you have done this program or minimally the wellness program for 6 months, 4 to 6 months. Then you're setting your body up to be able to go through the trauma of the weight loss. Okay, so, and then we have our program level 2 and our program level 3. And as you increase the amount that you take, you increase the rejuvenation level.